We will see the first BMWs and how and with whom they got here. A renowned luxury car manufacturer has faced numerous challenges over the years to sustain and expand its business. However, the contributions of three kind-hearted engineers, their efforts, and shared goals played a pivotal role in the growth of the company. Despite the adversities brought on by the wars, BMW was fortunate enough to persevere. In this article, we will delve into the journey of BMW, from its humble beginnings to the first BMW models and the people behind their creation. You know that BMW is one of the car manufacturing companies in the world that sells mostly luxury cars, and it is well known. Like many old companies, this company has gone through its ups and downs history and is now at its peak. Now, where does this company start and what happens to get here? Bayerische Motorenwerk, or Bavarian Motor Work. In English, the full name of this automobile giant is. The story from 1916. Three people named Camillo Castiglione, an Italian-Austrian Jew, Franz Joseph Popp from Austria, and Karl Papp from Germany founded this company in Bavaria, Germany. Their work started by making engines that were installed on motorcycles. Until 1923, they only produced empty engines. But in this same year, 1923, they made the first motorcycle called the BMW R32. From the first day, BMW sought to do more important things. They had a big goal, like building an airplane engine. In their workshop, all three individuals were working diligently towards their main goal. Did you know that the BMW logo is actually an airplane blade that displays the BMW name when it rotates? Interestingly, the team managed to create their first airplane engine in 1917, the BMW 3A, which boasted 6 cylinders and produced 185 horsepower. This was an incredible accomplishment for its time and proved that the ideas of these three engineers were truly groundbreaking. Later on, the ownership of the factory was transferred to a wealthy German family called the Quants. Gunter Quandt, a member of the family, paved the way for their wealth during World War I. The Quandt family owned a textile factory that was one of the main suppliers of uniforms for the German army during the war, which helped the company become prosperous. After World War I and Germany's defeat, many German companies suffered losses and went bankrupt, but Mr. Gunther Quandt's factory was not among them. He made clever use of the chaotic situation by utilizing his knowledge of policy, allowing him to purchase more than 50% of German factories within 10 years. Mr. Quandt owned various factories, including arms factories, large oil companies, and electricity production companies, among others. In 1918, his wife passed away from the Spanish flu, leaving his son as his only property. After 3 years, Mr. Gunther got married to a lady named Magda Ritschl. However, their marriage did not last and ended in divorce in 1922. Magda later married Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister. Mr. Quandt offered to hold his ex-wife's wedding in his palace at his own expense, and this might make you wonder why. The truth is that at that time, the Nazi Party was powerful and popular, and Mr. Quandt wanted to take advantage of his wife's second marriage for political gain. His politics promised him that the Nazi Party would hold power in Germany in the future, so he invested in it to exploit it later. By 1923, the Nazi Party had won, and most of the German industries were under Gunther Quandt's control. Hitler needed German industries to achieve his lofty goals, and Mr. Quandt was the king of German industries. They were supposed to produce the best weapons and equipment in their production line. Mr. Quandt purchased BMW Company, which had gone bankrupt and could produce quality aircraft engines at a low cost. So over the years, 3 engineers at BMW have made great progress thanks to Mr. Quandt's capital, which has kept the factory running. One of the most important companies that the Nazi Party had calculated in that period was BMW. His goal was to put professional engines on warplanes to prepare them for war during the Nazi regime. World War II began in 1939, and all young Germans were forced to go to war. Even all the young workers who were working in the factories were sent to the war here because of the lack of manpower, the Nazis said. To use slaves instead of German workers, who were the slaves, those who were kept in German camps. They were working while suffering from severe illnesses and struggling with hunger. So every day, some corpses were taken out of the factory and replaced quickly. It is necessary to mention that at that time, Mr. Gunter Quandt was one of the biggest European slave owners. Mr. Gunter Quandt was already old, and his son Herbert Quandt was doing the work. At that time, Gunter Quandt was forced to put slaves to work. But his son was a radical slave owner who built a camp for the government with his own money. When World War II ended and the Allies occupied Germany, it is believed that they arrested the Quandt family. But this family was so powerful that the Americans could only imprison him for 1 year after arresting her. The interesting thing is that at that time, when anyone was asked about Herbert, they said he had nothing to do with Nazi Germany. At the time of Herbert's arrest, his father was once again running the factory. The British had concluded that if this factory went bankrupt, Germany would face a disastrous financial situation. In 1954, Günther Quandt retired and his son took over the management of several of Germany's strongest companies, including BMW. After World War II, a strange transformation occurred within the company. BMW was split into 2 parts, with one half in East Germany under Russian control and the other remaining in West Germany. Herbert was not concerned with the fate of the BMW factory because he owned a vast collection of his own. However, in 1959, BMW was on the verge of bankruptcy, and its employees pleaded with Herbert to buy the remaining shares of the factory to prevent its collapse. Herbert said, "I love it." He quickly bought the entire factory with one check. After investing money in the factory, they were able to successfully launch the BMW car in the market 3 years later, which was named the BMW 1500 model in 1962. This car earned the nickname the savior of BMW and transformed the bankruptcy company into a profitable one. However, the Quandt family, who owned BMW, had their fair share of critics who claimed that their wealth came from slavery. Despite this, they continued to thrive and, until 2007, maintained a low profile. That year, a documentary was aired on German television that revealed the family's story. While the exact amount of their wealth is unknown, estimates put it in the hundreds of billions. Regardless, the Quandt family saved BMW and continues to improve it to this day. Although JAT factory shares are on the stock market, the majority of BMW factory shares are still held by the Quandt family, who remain the main decision makers for the company